All right, welcome back to the Cheech and Manny show, taking out music because we are delving back into true crime. This time we're going to be talking about a very interesting case, very famous, the Amityville case featuring Mr. DeFeo. This time he's our, I guess, psychopath in focus, we'll call it, right?
God, yeah.
I'm Manny. I'm joined by my co-host Cheech Carrero, the people's bassist. Cheech, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? How's everything, bro? I'm really looking forward to this one. I know we were gonna do another one, but once again, I got inspired by the man, Manny Grossman. He did 2 episodes on Amityville. I watched them and I was like, I gotta do Ronnie DeFeo. Because I had a list when we started this whole thing. I had Ramirez, Son of Sam, but what's his name? Oh God, why am I getting a John Anderson, a Dahmer? So I had, and then I had Bundy and John Wayne Gacy in the Zodiac, and underneath that I had Ronnie DeFeo. I
Hmm.
said, Ronnie DeFeo's not a serial killer, but it doesn't matter. This is more complex than the Son of Sam, or just as complex when you think about what we're going to get into, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so I just do want to throw a couple shout outs. Want to throw always a shout out to Potter's Field, a shout out to my cousin Josh Carrerio. I think I sent you his music.
Hmm.
He's got a new single out there, Down by the River. He's a talented guitar player, singer. Uh, Many moons ago, when he was in high school, my band Deep River Meltdown would play shows with him. That's how good he was. He's produced and engineered a lot of my band's music. Um, we have In Through the Outdoor coming out. Uh,
This Monday.
what's that?
This Monday.
Oh, okay. Then we have Desire, which we're gonna record. Coda, which I wrote, and I finished Nebraska.
I cannot wait for that one.
So Nebraska's done, and we still got the Brown album, Punk, and I'm starting Born to Run. Believe it or not, I'm really because I was listening to that, and I'm just like, wait a second, I'm hooked on this dude. I'm so hooked on Bruce Springsteen, it's insane.
Dude, I'm so happy to hear that because I have an obsession with Springsteen where I even got on, you know what an audiobook is?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I listen.
Yeah, so on Audible, I got his biography. I'm gonna start listening to it in preparation for like the Bruce Springsteen now obsession that you have and I've been having. So I'm very happy because I think he's one of the greatest American songwriters, rock and roll stars, and also continuing, like Bob Dylan's like legacy.
Oh,
So,
oh, hold on.
dude, I love it, man. Dude, no, and it's crazy. Funny story about this one. So I also want to give a shout out to my girlfriend Gloria, right? She right now is in Guatemala.
Okay.
Left yesterday, and her friend gifted me this.
Oh, dude,
Yes.
it's amazing. I
Oh,
got.
look, I already started the first chapter, and I'll be honest with you, it's really good. It's kind of funny though, but Dylan does it in a way that's very interesting, where he's so like you read it, but then there's still more mystery.
Yeah, yeah.
Very strange how he does that, but no, it's phenomenal. And to just come back to Springsteen, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I consider myself a Springsteen scholar 'cause I love Springsteen.
Funny because Mr. Silkman came into the temple yesterday, and he said he read the Springsteen biography. He was talking about that, and it was funny because he said, "How did I miss?" He brought up like soft rock for some reason, and I said, "Joe, didn't you watch AM Gold?" He's like, "No, you guys did something on soft rock." He's like, "How did I miss that?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I don't know." I sent it to him right away. That was one of my favorites, that we did.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Our relation to soft rock. I like how he highlighted the Harry. I think it's Harry Chapman and Jim Croce, which both are sort of they both had hits from the 70s, but I think they're a little bit underrated.
Yeah, yeah.
They were eclipsed in a way. And but yeah, no, that I'm so happy Joe noticed or like owned in on that.
Oh, definitely. Amazing. So you wanna jump right in? Any shout outs for you?
Yeah, so apart from my girlfriend Gloria and her continual love and support, her friend for gifting me this amazing book.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and again, I'm gonna finish it in 10 days in preparation for this. I mean, I wish I read it when we did our exploration on Bob Dylan. And but I'll be honest with you, like just reading the first part, we got a lot of the basic outline, which is pretty
Oh
amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, apart from that, is always thank you for our fans. If you could ask you for new viewers, please subscribe to support our channel. Leave a
yeah.
give all our videos a like, but especially this video a like. And look forward to great content from the Cheech and Manny show, which
And
maybe.
I was thinking about when we're coming up on our 50th episode.
Yes, and actually our anniversary because I recall in the Into the Outdoor episode, Joe made a point, and I'll shout out to Joe too because he's so, Joe is such a underrated Zeppelin scholar, but he highlighted that our anniversary is coming up. So
Yeah.
many amazing things. Our 50th episode,
No,
anniversary when actually ironically, and I say ironic because my girlfriend's in Guatemala, but when I was in Guatemala and we started this whole
that's
journey.
true. Yeah, yeah. And I was coming up with a concept maybe on our 50th anniversary. Could I speak? Anniversary. We should do our top 10 Cheech and Manny episodes.
I mean, we should do episodes and
Like highlights, things.
okay, for our crowd out there, this is like brainstorming live. Like I'm thinking episodes or moments. I don't know how you feel about that, or because
There's a lot of great moments, man. Great,
maybe we can do two parts where our 50th episode will be top 10 Cheech and Manny thus far,
yeah,
anniversary our top moments, and then we
yeah,
should watch our old episodes and kind of like look forward to that. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
yeah. I meant to tell you that. So I told you on air.
Okay, so now going back, we are diving into true crime, and again, I have to thank you, and you're responsible for, our show. We talk about music, but we're gonna be planning on talking about other topics, not just music. I think
Oh yeah,
just throw it out there to our crowd. So sign up to learn all things that have to do with philosophy, music, theory, true crime, all cool
yeah.
topics that we love. But today we're going to be talking about a very interesting case. And once again, shout out to Manny Grossman because I understand that he inspired you to sort of, dive back into this interesting.
Again, the guy inspired me again. I mean, like
He's like a trailblazer.
he really is. And I remember watching the Amityville years ago when he did it, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. He's covering everything I love. And then you had a guy. The guy's name is Rob Levinson. Levinson. He did a movie about Ronnie DeFeo and exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
The
And
movie.
just to make sure, he interviewed him. Is that
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
I will, and that was the video that you sent me, right?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
post it or when I release this video, I'll post it down below.
Yeah. And I got inspired, and I was like, Ronnie DeFeo has been an obsession with me, equal to the Son of Sam, equal since I was like 14. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because when I saw Amityville at like 10, I think I snuck into Rye Ridge movie theater with my friend to see it. We left in 20 minutes because we were shitting our pants pretty much. But I had no idea it was about murders or anything like that. You know what I mean? You just think it's about the devil and you know. But anyway,
Right. And I will say so, and starting off, again, we're gonna I'm assuming for our viewers, they may not know what the Amityville, we call it the horror, right? But
yeah,
we'll call it the Amityville case and then eventually the fail. But I guess to start us off, right? I'm assuming you're gonna dive into history. What,
right.
let's
Well,
get
I wanted to talk about Ronnie first, and
okay,
then
okay, that's really important. And this is and let me just pull out my notes. This is so his name is Ronald DeFeo, right?
Feo. Yeah.
So he's
Mhm.
our psychopath in focus.
Yeah, he's the main guy, and it's two parts. It's basically about the murders and a million questions about the murders, why it happened,
Okay. Okay.
And
Who was DeFeo? Who was he?
Ronnie DeFeo was a very disturbed person, and I don't blame him. I blame his father. Um,
Now, why was he disturbed?
because he was abused. He,
Like, a
I,
record of that? It's recorded.
oh yeah, yeah. There's records of this, yeah, from neighbors and family members. George DeFeo abused them at like 6 months old. There's family members saying that they seen him get abused at that age.
And I will say, so, Chief, so it's interesting because just thinking back on Ramirez and Berkowitz, it seems to me that some sort of
Yeah,
like either abuse or trauma seems to sort of create these people or these psychopaths. What do
does. But it's more than Ronnie. His sister Dawn was abused, and the three other siblings. They were all abused, and the wife.
by the father?
The father, George. He was a psychopath. He was physically abused, mentally abused. I don't know about sexually abused. I
And
don't.
this is the father, so
Yeah,
he himself was abused.
the father abused everybody.
Now, what about the father? Why did he do this? Was he abused himself or?
He was just like a psychopath mobster guy. He was kind of like
He had links to the mafia.
yeah, oh, total links to the mafia. Yeah. So he had this like craziness to him, and Ronnie hated his father his whole life. He did love. This is where it's going to get very interesting. He loved his brothers and sisters. He loved his younger siblings that were under 10. His sister Dawn was a bit of a crazy person too.
Chief, how
And,
many siblings did he have? How many in the family?
it was Ronnie, Dawn. There was George, the father, Louise, the mother, Dawn, the sister, Allison, the younger sister, Mark and John, the younger kids. They were like a little bit older than me. And then Ronald DeFeo. Um, and there is some craziness. The more I dive into it, because like I was that there might have been some funky relationship going on with Dawn DeFeo and Ronnie. I'm not going to say what, but you can use your imagination. You know what I mean?
Guess to use the I guess the proper term, like some incestual or
yeah, yeah.
are these alleged or kind of confirmed that there was something there?
That's a rumor. That's a rumor. But he, according to Ronnie, I watched so many prison interviews with him. He loved his younger brothers and sisters. He would not ever want to hurt them.
Mm.
So
And I will say there has been a theory in like psychology, but especially like trauma, where trauma's passed down, so it can become generational.
yeah, yeah,
That wouldn't shock me if he did do that. And think about it, if the sister had no one to lean on. I mean, it's horrible, but
yeah.
I mean,
I
distort.
mean, according to neighbors, it was constant screaming and yelling. It got physical, dishes being smashed. You know, Ronnie abused as a kid. Uh, I don't know. I read something yesterday. Supposedly, he would help him do. I think this is BS, but like when there were bodies to be moved from the mafia, he'd ask him to help him put them in cemeteries. I don't know if that's true.
Right, right.
I mean, these are just other.
Well,
Like I was talking to Manny earlier about this through emails, and he was saying there's a lot of crazy stuff, so be careful what you read and stuff. But what I have is I got the facts for our show, and I got a lot of theories from other people and my own theory. So we'll just jump into their story.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Ronnie DeFeo, the Amityville House murders.
Now,
The
geez, where's the setting? Where is Amityville? Where is it?
Amityville is in Long Island. Have you never been to the house?
I have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to
Oh, no,
there.
talk about it. Where you continue, talk about it.
It's kind of like going to Untermeyer Park. I've been to Untermeyer Park where the Son of Sam and the rituals from the satanic cults did all their things. I've been to the actual spot, and I've been to the house in Amityville. Got out of the car, looked at it, had the same feeling of like uneasiness. Like I did not feel right. I almost was like, we drove all this way, and I was like, I want to leave now. You know what I mean? Like I just felt like looking at the house. I was
What motivated that? Your knowledge of the DeFeo murders, or just the overall? There's something to the house because
could
that's what the Lutz family, and you're going to talk about them. That's
it,
what they claim.
it could be more of being a little kid watching the movie, and the inner Cheech was scared of the movie, and actually being at the house, devil, and all that stuff, and then just knowing that Ronnie DeFeo, killed his family in that house. Just to know that, I mean, I've been in places, dude, that no people should go. I slept in Lizzie Borden's bedroom. Okay, Lizzie Borden, who hacked up her family like a jackass, being whacked out on. I'm not gonna say all kinds of shit. I slept in her fucking bedroom, and when I came and I was sober, I never was so scared in my life, dude. I got my rosary beads, and I was like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, so I slept in Lizzie Borden's house. That was the worst feeling, next to going to other churches that I shouldn't have gone to. But
If there are rears out there, Lizzie Borden is another case. I think that could be a future topic.
oh yeah, I know a
That's
lot.
another one, very similar to I would say DeFeo, right? Where this person murders the family and there's a whole story behind it, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it has to do with
And that was more gruesome because remind me, she hacked them with an axe, right?
she hacked her father up and her ex-mother.
Dude, I remember on the travel. Do you remember the Travel Channel? Uh, remember the Travel Channel?
Yeah,
So I remember when I see what you mean because they did a special, the top 10 most, I forgot if it was like the most haunted places or whatever. That's why you sleeping on that bed is insane. But they kept showing when they showed the Borden house, and they did such a great job with the music and pictures. I got scared to the point where like every time I seen that, I remember I tape recorded that episode because I love it. It was my first. I think like you, I've always had a fascination with the true crime and supernatural
yeah.
and creepy though. Like it was scary.
When I got there, the lady started fucking with me, and she's like, "Lizzie's following you. Lizzie could feel you." So I started to drink absinthe, and I drank a bottle of absinthe, and it was over for me. And I passed out in a restaurant, and then I had to be put into a van because I was so scared. And I was taken out of my van, and the minute I was taken out of the van, I seen two black cats run out underneath my van, and I just said, "Put me in the bed." So I went in the bed, and I was knocked out. I don't drink absinthe. It's like it's the worst
Like
thing.
you hear that, kids do not drink absinthe.
Oh,
I
and
we were at the bar at that in through the outdoor bar. We had a couple of drinks of absinthe.
and then once I came to, and you get no hangover with absinthe, which is really scary. And once I came to, I was like, oh my God, because I had the rosary beads in my hand before I went to bed. I'm like, I'm in a place where murder, butchery happened. And I really couldn't take it. I was like ready to like just leave. I had to get out. I left. I actually when the morning came, whoever I was with, I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here. I don't know why I decided to stay there. Because I stayed in a lot of haunted houses in a past life. And it's not, I don't know. Those people are fucking nuts that do that shit.
I know. I mean,
There's
that's a lot of courage.
I'm not, I'm a big chicken shit, and like uh, I was just like, I had to either just be really whacked out of my mind to stay there, and then you sober up, and you're like, I gotta go, and then you don't know what you're bringing back with you, and these nuts that work there are telling you, oh, their spirits are fine. When this lady said to me, Lizzie Borden is behind you. I'm a psychic. I could see her. I was just like, fuck, like my imagine. I have an imagination, so that's what. Then it was all downhill, but. that's another life. So,
Right.
but
And
yeah,
we'll do an episode on Lizzie Borden,
yeah,
right, in the future. But all right, let's go back to DeFeo though. Let's
yeah.
dive okay, so we find out Amityville is in Long Island, so not that far from here, right?
Yep.
We discovered DeFeo himself was abused by the father.
Mhm.
Had mob ties, right? So let's
Yeah. I'm gonna give you the backstory. So the DeFeo family lived in Brooklyn, then later Queens. They moved into the house in 1965. So he lived there for 9 years before he did the killings,
now,
Ronnie.
Cheech, just in my notes, just make sure Ronald DeFeo Sr., right? The father, he was a car salesman.
Yeah, that's George DeFeo. The father's George.
It's not Ronald, right? Senior? No.
Ronald is the oldest son.
Okay. Father was a car salesman though?
Yep, he owned a Buick dealership.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get to all that because it gets there's a lot of connections to that. So they moved to Brooklyn and Queens. Later, they moved to 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, Long Island. They put a sign in front of the house called High Hopes. Now, this is interesting. They bought the house from John and Mary Riley, who had no problems with ghosts, demons, or anything. So it
Hmm.
makes you wonder, was the house clean? And there were no demons or anything there. But then we're gonna get into the Warrens and Hans Holzer's theory on that. Um, so they had no problems, and they lived there for a while, and they had no problems with devil stuff. Um, so the family was George, Louise, Dawn, the sister, Allison, the sister, Mark and John, the little brothers, and Ronald. The family had major problems. George was abusive to the mother, the kids, Dawn and Ronnie, mostly mental abuse and a lot of physical abuse. A lot of eyewitnesses seen this, family members seen Ronnie especially get beat down as a young kid.
Hmm.
Uh, God knows what he did to the other kids. I mean, Ronnie hated his father and Dawn. They could not stand the man. Um,
Right.
George owned a Buick dealership that Ronnie worked at. Now, Ronnie's 23 years old. I don't know if he graduated high school. Must say, Ronnie is heavily into heroin, LSD, and acid at this time. It's the 70s. He's an
Well, I was gonna say no, and
addict.
that's really important because I saw that in my notes, and I know, and you'll go in details about the Grizzly murders, but I don't know. Like it's interesting because, and eventually we're going to talk about the influence of the supernatural, right?
Yeah,
Was there something supernatural involved, or was this a disturbed, abused individual who high on LSD, right? Which you're
yeah,
right. At the time, it was popular, right? We talked about it. We
yeah.
talked about this in our music episodes where LSD was normal. The problem is that it taken too far, and especially considering the case that this poor DeFeo, we'll call him Ronnie. Do you call him Ronnie? Is
Ronnie.
that
Yeah.
Ron DeFeo was already damaged, so the LSD can worsen that, right? So, anyway, we just want to talk about
At this
that.
point, he's 23. Prior to that, he lived in the house from 1965 when he was 13, 14, abused all that time by his father, discovers drugs and other things, and he's already got mental illness going on from abuse. So add that to it. And he's an angry dude. You know, he was in trouble with the law. I think he had some issues. I don't know how bad it was. Um,
Mhm.
so where was I? So George owned a Buick dealership. It's funny, my grandfather had a Buick. I always talk about my grandfather's Buick because doesn't Dylan have a song about a Buick?
I literally was going to say from a Buick 6.
Yeah, my grandfather had one from that same year, 1974. There were boats. You could take it out in the ocean, those things. They were friggin' huge cars. And they were a hot car at the time. So he had a Buick dealership that Ronnie worked at. But a lot of people say it was a front for the Gambino mob family, who was huge in Long Island. And they
Okay.
did illegal things using the dealership as a front for money laundering, drugs, and gambling. Back in the day, gambling was a huge thing. It was illegal to gamble. So
Mhm.
football games, basketball, baseball, horses, all that kind of stuff that would go on, I would imagine, at this dealership.
Right.
So uh George the father, now this is interesting. Tell me what you think. This is one theory. George the father took out a $250,000 insurance policy on the family and the house, which is equal. I did some research. I think it's equal to about 800,000 to $1 million now, back in 1974.
Right.
So would have been a lot of money. Um, and if George died, it would go to the family. Okay, so during the same time he took the policy out, $19,000 was stolen from the Buick dealership. Now the mob who owned it, really, and George was just the face of it, wanted to know where that money went. George, the father, knew Ronnie and his friend had something to do with it. Like a guy came in and robbed the place, and
Mm.
Ronnie gave him the money. I think that's kind of what went down. Now Ronnie was, fueled on LSD, heroin, acid, all during this time. This
Mm.
became a major problem between the father and Ronnie. It got huge. They were fist fighting. It got physical. He was taking it out on the kids, the father, the wife. George was out of his mind with violence because that money, it looked so bad that it was stolen, and it made George look bad. And they already knew Ronnie was a junkie. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Uh, so the mafia, God knows what they were going to do to George and his son if that money didn't come back, because they knew it was linked. So he flipped out. He took it out on him. This is where the night leads to November 13th, 1974. Any questions so far on that backstory?
So pretty good, man. So at first it sounds pretty normal in terms of um, and I could see why people would. I'm seeing sort of the roots here, but at first we're dealing with somebody that the family's crazy. It sounds like father
Yeah.
was abusive. What was the mother? Anything on the mother?
You know how abusive mothers are? Sometimes they just sit back and they don't say anything.
But was she abusive herself, or she sort of like a bystander or
It was,
scared,
it
or not
was
scapegoat, but scared?
She was scared and abused.
So
She was
she
abused.
was like,
Well, everybody got abused. From nobody knows exactly, but from eyewitnesses, from family members saying that. And she probably was one of those women, older Italian lady, didn't say anything, didn't try to stop him because she was scared of him. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm.
I mean that's a psychological thing, right? What do you think of that? Why don't people protect their kids when there's abuse? Like it's a Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It can be sort of similar to what you see in Stockholm syndrome, where the victim will sort of identify with the with their attacker or whatever. But it's interesting from a psychological perspective. It seems to me that first of all, the father definitely is a dominant presence, right? It sounds like, and when there are two things that happen: the normalization of abuse, where it becomes normal. I know this is frightening, but
Yeah,
it was probably so rampant that the wife or whatever the other siblings, it was part of normal life. And then the second thing was sort of similar to what you just said with the Stockholm syndrome, where and this is a problem with the victims, where they start to, and it could be possible she probably defended his actions, right? You've
yeah,
seen this, or people that choose to stay in an abusive relationship is because it's sort of like a cycle, and it's
yeah,
hard to get out of it, right? Because again, you start rationalizing, he loves us though, he works so hard, so he
mm,
can't abuse the children. That's okay,
yeah,
he works so hard. You start doing this weird, it's sort of like a defense mechanism.
right, right.
It's just for me, it sounds like this is such a sad case, and it's
Almost like I'm not saying
there's no supernaturalness to it. It sounds pretty
I,
horrible by the
yeah.
case of trauma and abuse and
like this one lady said she almost felt sorry for Ronnie DeFeo because he was just bred and born a psychopath. You know what I mean? Like he was
right.
used, he was just brought up that way. And I mean, he just had so much hatred for his father. We'll get into it, but I really think he just meant to kill his father. I have a whole theory on this whole thing. So November 13th, 1974 is when the Amityville horror really started. Forget all the devil shit and stuff, right now. So that night, Ronnie took his usual LSD, acid, heroin. Now he got a Marlin 35 caliber rifle, which, you know, I was talking to somebody about that, and they said it's one of the loudest fucking rifles in the world. Like
Mm.
you can hear it 8 blocks away if you shot it.
And again, there's to be a little mystery with that, and we'll talk about it where and that's important. It's loud.
Yeah.
And yet, in one of the during my research, um, some of the neighbors did not hear anything, right? So we'll gonna
The theory on that is some of the neighbors heard it, but they were just so sick of the shit going on and they knew the mob ties. They didn't want to get involved. That was another theory that they were just like, let them shoot each other. You know what I mean? Like, fuck them, that kind of thing. I'm not getting involved. That's what a few people said. I don't know. If I heard my next door neighbor on that side or that side, I heard a Marlin rifle, I'd call the police right away. I mean,
Mhm.
think about a block. It's 4th of July, so think about a blockbuster. That's about the sound of a Marlin rifle.
Mhm.
You know how loud? That's like super, super loud.
Yeah, yeah. And and just one more thing before I forget, I continue going back to the abuse thing.
Yeah.
Um, Children, man, I should probably stay because of the kids too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty horrible. I mean, but yeah, so crazy, crazy family. Okay, so we have the gun, and again, it was a uh
35 caliber Marlin rifle.
right, which is loud, right, when it's fired. And it's my understanding, okay, but going back, so he takes an LSD, right?
All right. Now, this is where in the movie they say you see a figure and the devil made him do it and stuff. But
And
so
so where did he get this rifle?
that I don't know. I'm gonna get to that because there was an empty box in his room.
Well, my theory could be that, or just thinking, what do you think about this? Since the
It was,
dad was involved in the mafia, could it
no,
have?
a brand new rifle. It was out of the box. The police found the box in his room. So he
Okay,
opened up the rifle that night out of the box.
okay, and by the way, 35 caliber, right? My
Yeah,
that's gonna be loud.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and okay, so wait, so he takes his LSD, right? Usual.
Yeah.
How did he make that jump from the usual LSD intake to murdering the whole family?
Well, because that night they got into a brutal fist fight, him and the father accused him of taking the money.
Okay, so this stems. Okay, so going back just for our viewers out there, just to tie a little before we set up the scene.
Yeah.
So the father pulls this insurance scam, right?
No, the father takes out an insurance policy already for 250,000 on the
Why?
so that could have been his motive to kill his family. One, we'll get into that theory.
No,
But
but how did the dad do this with the insurance? What
he
happened?
just took out a huge policy on the family. He just
Isn't that a scam? A scam?
no, no, no. Well, that's not a scam. That was a regular insurance policy.
No, wait, but why? Why? Like,
The
how did he?
father might have thought because he's tied in with the mafia, something might happen to him. That's like my theory.
Okay, so he pulls out the money, so he's in possession of $250,000.
Yeah, there's
Hey, because the
no, no,
seven.
no, no. If the father dies, right, the family gets $250,000.
Oh, I see. So he sets up an insurance policy.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I meant to say, yeah, an insurance policy. So if the father dies, he thought he was probably not going to live long, being in that he was a mobster. Let's put it that way. So if he
But
died,
he wasn't setting up a scam, right? No.
no. This is to go to his family, you know. But Ronnie and his friend took supposedly $19,000 from the Buick dealership, and the mafia was pissed because they knew Ronnie did it, and George, the father, was angry, like you took it, give me the money back, you junkie, you piece of shit, that kind of stuff.
And the Buick dealership had mob ties, right? It sounds like.
All connected, all
So
connected.
so DeFeo stole from the mob essentially.
Yeah, basically the Buick dealership was a front for the mob. Money laundering, gambling, drugs, God knows what else was going through there. It was
Okay.
a
So just so before we move on, dad does an insurance policy where if anything happens to him, the family gets money, right? And that would be a possible motivator of why DeFeo killed him, right? That's one theory. But there's another thing where DeFeo and his friends stole money from the Buick dealership owned by the mob, and then that caused one of the most violent fights between them.
yeah. I mean that night, the night of the murders, they got into it bad, really bad. I think Dawn got into it. The whole family.
And we don't know where he got the gun, the brand new rifle.
Nobody knows. It was in a box. So um he might have been with a guy named Ricky Queso who might have helped him. There was definitely help in this murder. He didn't act alone. I'm convinced of that. And we're going to get into that. There's a rumor there was a guy there who was the guy that maybe stole the money with him. Okay. So am I clear? Is everything clear on everything where I'm at so far?
I think you set up, yeah, you're setting up the
There's a lot of like side stories, with
no, but that's why I want to take a pause and make sure to for our viewers out there to highlight, okay, we're setting up the scene, right? So and again, this is going to lead to a lot of theories because already I'm thinking, the insurance money, if Phil knew that, I mean, he's
I,
gonna right, just thinking, like not saying that this happened, but
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So that night, Ricky Queso might have been there supposedly. Ronnie, whacked out of his mind, shot and killed. This is one theory. The three kids, the sister Dawn, his mother, and his father. Was it because of the insurance money? Theory number one. Did he kill his whole family because of the insurance money? Now, according to Manny Grossman, when Ronnie DeFeo was taken away in prison, he was still asking, after he was convicted, will I be entitled to get in some of that money? I don't know how true that is, but if he's asking about it.
Right.
And by the way, when Ronnie DeFeo was in prison, he changed his story so many times. So you could never believe he's dead now, but you'll never know the truth. That's why it's such a mystery.
Now, Cheech, my question is
Yeah.
why not just shoot the father? Why did he kill the whole family?
Okay, so he wanted the insurance money.
But wasn't the insurance just for the father if something happens to him?
The insurance money was for the whole family, and if he's the only one left, he gets all the money.
Okay. Well, what's really weird is if he loved the family, why would he kill them all?
Right. So maybe that doesn't work. That theory might not.
I'm saying like I'm just like questioning like
So
why?
like that's one theory I have because he loved his brother and sisters. He loved them,
Maybe that's the problem.
right?
Unless the LSD and trauma affected him, which could be a possibility, because
He said in interviews once he started doing it, he couldn't stop. So maybe he was so far gone on LSD, so pissed off at his father, and he just kept shooting and shooting and shooting till they were all dead. That's theory number one.
okay.
Water.
But there's some holes in it, right? As my questioning just there's a few
Hmm.
problems.
Yeah, because he loved his brother and sister. You can see interviews with them saying he'd take him out for car rides. He would take him out for ice cream. He would do stuff with them. He
Wait,
loved
I'm sorry, I don't know if you mentioned this. His relationship with his mother. Is there anything
not
or
much, not much I know about. I know more about Dawn. Him and Dawn had an interesting relationship. Could have been incest. The thing they had in common, they hated the father. Theory number two. Any more questions on theory number one?
No, pretty good.
Okay. And then, we'll decide. Like, I don't know about theory number one. I mean, maybe the acid and the LSD, he just went crazy. Was there a guy? Somebody had to help him because after the gunshots were fired, they had to hold down the kids. They had to hold down, the mother, the sister, because you're in a dead sleep. You hear an M80 go off in your house, you're going to wake up, so somebody had to help. That's definitely a fact. I
Right.
know that.
Wait, go back to first theory. So first theory is that DeFeo did this because of the insurance money. He wanted it.
Yes.
And
That's,
the trigger was the violent altercation with the father he had
yeah.
and his trip on LSD.
Yeah.
Okay.
And possible somebody there to,
Who knew about the money as well. They
yeah.
probably worked together.
Again, this is true, to either calm the children down or hold the children down.
Okay.
Ronnie went on his spree. Not saying this happened. This is just theories to our um Amityville people out there. I don't want to get any haters out there.
We're just two, yeah, we're just right now exploring. And we're doing an interesting, this time I'm questioning you, right? Similar
Yeah.
to our Springsteen episode. So,
And it's good because, like, these are great, you're asking great questions because, like, I don't think he shot his brother and sister. I really
well,
don't.
it's weird because it's crazy how he goes from that one astronomical leap. Like I'm thinking maybe he had help and maybe this helped convince them we got to kill everybody, man. Like because
And
they're gonna get the money, or the mother, right? Um, or an influence because of the LSD and anger and trauma.
now, I'm gonna bring this up. I never got into hard drugs like LSD and acid because every single time somebody would want to put a tab of acid on my mouth, they'd say, "Okay, you have to relax." And kids, don't do drugs. I'm sorry, I'm even bringing this story.
It's do not do drugs. I think the moral of the story of our episodes like this one is avoid LSD. I'm not a fan of. I don't know how you feel about psychedelic mind altering. I'm kind of against it only because
You're a psychologist. You know what it does to this. It's a synthetic drug. What it's going to do to your brain. But
too, yeah,
every
LSD.
time, like I used to hang out with these kids at SUNY College, and I was in the band with. Every time I was like, "Hey, I was like 20. Let me try this." It's a little thing. Put it on your tongue, and then they're like, "Okay, relax. We're gonna have a good trip." I didn't do it. Um, just think about something good, and guess what would pop in my head? Reagan from The Exorcist. And I
Uh,
said, "No, dude, I don't want to do this. I'll stick to this Miller Lite." You know, Reagan from The Exorcist and the witch from The Wizard of Oz. The minute, the minute it was like, no, I'm
Dude,
good.
there is something there, bro. And I will
It was like
say
my
that
body, my mind was protecting me. Like, don't
yeah, yeah,
do this.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Because the Wicked Witch of the West, I don't like Wicked. I don't know if you heard of Wicked. They try to make her nice. No, no, no. She's the embodiment of evil. And obviously, Reagan influenced or possessed by Pazuzu, a frightening
Yeah,
demonic spirit. But also in the 60s, acid, especially the synthetic one, LSD,
yeah,
was popular because, and one of the reasons why it was heavily promoted by Timothy Leary at Harvard University.
yeah,
Things said, tune in and drop out, right? Like that
yeah.
was the thing. But I think we're revealing sort of like the dangers of it. And
Yeah. I mean, the kid was going to give it to me, and I opt out. He had a bad trip, and we had a giant poster of Eddie from Maiden on the wall. He ran around thinking Eddie was chasing him. So, like,
Eddie's pretty scary.
so you could kill somebody on LSD easily. So I'm not defending Ronnie DeFeo, but he might have lost his mind completely and just shot up his family.
Uh, we'll
On
see.
on that note.
Okay, let's move on to the second theory.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Don't do acid, kids.
Kids, don't do acid. Don't listen to Timothy Leary.
Okay. Number two, theory two. Ronnie and Dawn plan to kill the father. but something goes really wrong. So Ronnie sees Dawn kill the father, and then he gets the gun from her by mistake, and it goes off and it kills the mother.
Hmm.
Ronnie leaves and he comes back. When he comes back, the kids are dead, which means Dawn or her boyfriend killed the kids. Ronnie flips out. You killed the brother and sister. So what does he do? He kills Dawn. Now, with that theory, Dawn had gunpowder on her nightgown. The only way you can get gunpowder on your nightgown, the way she had it, is that she had it like facing her, is if you use the gun. So Dawn DeFeo definitely used the gun to shoot somebody. So in
Hmm.
that theory, Ronnie only killed Dawn, and Dawn killed Ronnie killed Dawn, and mistakenly killed his mother because the gun went off.
Right, right.
So
And so Dawn assisted DeFeo because of the money, right? And
no, because they wanted to kill the father.
so let's go back. How did the children get killed?
Dawn killed them,
Why?
so they wouldn't be witnesses.
Did she do it maybe by freaking out or just acted on?
Oh, nobody knows. This is all theory. All theory.
Might have been a possibility she was assisted by her boyfriend.
That's a theory. Yeah, that's a theory.
I will say the only problem with that is I don't know how you feel about this. In my notes, uh, there was no signs of struggle in the house, according to detectives. What do you think about that?
That's the only way that can happen is if there's more than one person.
Wait, do you think they were drugged?
They didn't find drugs in the bodies.
I'm asking you the questions, right? Because for our viewers out there, because that's the problem with that theory.
So somebody could have held down, the kids and pointed a gun at them, and then fear just kept them like this, waiting to die. Each
Right.
knows they're gonna die. You
And
know.
what's really creepy is that all six family members, now there's another problem. I guess first of all, what happened to the boyfriend, right? Because there's no was the boyfriend's body discovered or anything involvement like
No,
that?
well,
No.
that's theory that he was there or he wasn't there. People just throw that in there, you know.
Well, the reason why I say this is the six family members were found in their beds, face down, hands raised above their heads, right? So obviously there might be something to that theory if someone assisted the fail, maybe the boyfriend. But the problem is, wouldn't the boyfriend feel some type of way about killing Dawn?
Yeah, and then how come Dawn had gun residue, gunpowder on her?
No, and where's the boyfriend? What happened? Who was the
Right?
boyfriend? Who was he?
I have no idea, but Dawn definitely shot a gun that night because of the gunpowder aiming at her. You know, if you get shot, I don't think gunpowder comes at you. You get residue on it was on her fingers or something. Like
Right.
police said she shot a gun. So Dawn had something to do with the murders. That's theory two. Um, okay.
How many theories do you got? Just out of curiosity.
Um,
Maybe we might have to do this part one and two because it's really fascinating.
I got it. No, I got like one more after
Okay.
this.
No, it's fascinating. That's why, because on this episode we're gonna focus on the theory, right? Like kind of like
Yeah, I mean the ghost thing is
that's I feel like that's its own episode. We could explore that on a part two if you want.
yeah. I mean to me there's not a lot to it. It's kind of like I'm not really. We'll see. We'll get there if we have the time. Here's theory three, but this one goes out the window. And people say the mafia did it, and Ronnie took like the Son of Sam fall for it. But the mafia does not kill children. The mafia would have just killed George DeFeo.
Right. So this theory involves the mafia.
Yeah, that the mafia did it. But
Mafia. But the problem with that is why would they help DeFeo?
Well, they would tell him you got to take the fall for it because you owe us money, and this is how you're getting.
Well, it's similar to Berkowitz in a way with
Yeah, yeah, but it goes out the window. It goes out the window. That those are the three theories that I came up with, and other people have said. But it's definitely
which one does just speaking of Manny Grossman, which one does he advocate for?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Manny.
What's the theory that
Oh,
most
oh no, Manny Grossman I think leads towards the insurance money. That Ronnie did it for
but-
insurance.
and you're not and okay, so those are the three theories, and but in the sense that this case is still in a way unsolved, and it's not helped that the fail would change his story constantly, right?
Well, it is okay. Once you commit a murder and you admit to it, okay. Well, let me just tell you what happened. So Ronnie runs into a bar and he says they shot my family. The police take him and then he confesses. He confessed that he killed his family. This is where, they got him. He said he told the cops where the rifle was. The rifle was in the lake house,
Okay.
in the water behind the lake house, and they found his bloody clothes in a sewer in Brooklyn. So the cops found a new fresh box where the gun was opened. Okay. So when you confess and you give the evidence to the cops, you did it. You said, yeah, I shot my family. The gun's here. My bloody clothes were there. You did it, and you confessed to it. And then William Weber, his lawyer, said plead insanity. So then he said, I was possessed by a demon. That's why I did it.
Well, okay, so just going back a little bit because that's really important because I'm going to use Occam's razor on this because there is a simple explanation in that I'll be honest, with you, I think he did it. I think he
Yeah,
operated on his own, and it's interesting. One of the things that I have here, DeFeo said that once I started, I just couldn't stop.
right.
And he also claimed, and this is in, I kind of lean in on the supernatural in a way, but I guess we'll leave that for another episode. But he claimed that he heard voices from the house that turned him into a killer. Now, could that have been the result of his heavy drinking and drug usage? Possibly.
Yeah,
And I think also quite simply it could be that he was motivated by money. 'Cause think about it. How is he gonna finance his drugs,
yeah,
uh, his drug habit? Which I think he was a heroin user too.
yeah.
With
Yeah.
LSD, that's
Right.
pretty.
But why would he kill his brother and sister who he supposedly loves?
Well, okay, that's going back now. This is now
This is crazy,
no,
man.
no, no, no. So I'm gonna use Occam's razor. I don't know if you know this. Like the simplest explanation will suffice because once you get too convoluted, you can kind of start poking holes. But seems to me that first, the heavy drug usage and drink. By the way, heroin and LSD, toxic combo right there, and drinking. That's a problem. Now I want to ask you, what did DeFeo work as? What was his job? What was
He
his?
worked with the car dealership with the father.
Okay, okay. So I could see how the dad could withhold his check, maybe, right?
Yeah,
Whatever, right?
yeah.
And stop his drug habit. Okay. He's the result of abuse, which inspires psychopaths, as we sort of been exploring.
Mhm.
That and not even and in a way, it would seem that he had a motive for his killings, right? Which started out with that violent altercation with his father, right? Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question about like the supernatural before I get into that. So it seems to me that he gets a rifle. Now we don't know where he got it, which is interesting, right?
Mhm.
Um, he gets some sort of rifle, and just him basing off his claims and his what you just said when he went to the bar and admitted it,
Yeah,
he kills the whole family, and he claims that once he started, he couldn't stop. Now
yeah,
that could be possibly motivated by the drug high, right? Because again, like most and just based on experience, most heroin users, they do awful stuff to try to get
yeah,
money for drugs, right? So that could
yeah,
be right. And most likely another explanation I'm thinking is that shoots the father, kills the father. Family's like, yeah, we're gonna go to the police or something like that, right? There's
yeah,
some sort of thing involvement with the family, has to kill the whole family, right? Okay, there's that. and motivated possibly by either that fight, definitely the abuse and trauma, and
Yep.
the drugs and drinking. That's for me, that's what this whole thing sounds like. Now, what I want to hone in on is a few weird things. First, the fact that he heard voices.
Yeah.
That once I started, I couldn't stop. So I want to ask you, do you think there was some supernaturalness involved or like
Okay.
demonic stuff?
I have a whole section on that, but I'll give some things away. A guy named Hans Holzer, who was like the #1 ghost hunter before the Warrens went in there. The Warrens went in, they did their thing. Then Hans Holzer goes in. I'll just do it quick because I want to talk a lot about this, in another episode if we have time. Um, he brings in Ethel Johnson Myers, who's a trance medium. Now, you know what a trance medium does?
I kind of do, but for our audience, can you explain what is that?
So instead of using devices or whatever, like they do now on these stupid ghost shows, like they measure energy, a woman or a man goes in, closes their eyes, has the ability to have the spirit go in their body, and they turn into that person. Their body contorts and they walk like that person, they act like that person. So, according to Hans Holzer and this woman named Laura DeDeo, who I actually contacted, I haven't heard from her. She witnessed this. Now, she worked for NBC News, who covered the supernatural part of this. It was on
Uh,
the
what is this called? What is this called?
uh, trance medium.
The transmedium. Do you believe in it? Like, do you think it's an
Oh,
actual thing? Because I know, I don't know if you know, there's a lot of people like I'm not gonna. I'm being neutral and just
yeah.
I'm questioning you. And this is important for your argument, but a lot of people accuse them of being charlatans or fake. What do you think about that?
Trance medium goes back to beginning of time. People have that ability to have a spirit go into them and their voice changes and they start to talk like that person.
Right. And so this is
It's
for
not a possession. It's not a possession. It's just a vessel.
no, it makes sense. They're the medium for
Yeah,
your entity to speak through, right? So it's very similar to like how Jesus might be the medium for God, right? Like,
exactly, exactly.
Anyway, so okay, so we are acknowledging with this that the spiritual dimension.
Yeah, so she says, who came through her, Hans Holzer says, a Native American said, this house is built on my burial ground of my sacred people. These people have to get away, or I'm going to keep haunting and possessing them and bothering them.
And Cheech, you're the expert in this. For our viewers out there, why the fact that this house was built on some sort of like Indian burial ground? Why is that important?
It's actually factual because Laura DeDeo, the NBC reporter, went to the Historical Society and found that it was true. Now, why they would build a house on it, they made a movie about this, Poltergeist. They ripped off Amityville. Somebody knew the real story.
Well, and that's why I asked that because I don't know if you know this, but Poltergeist had the movie itself also had mysterious you know about the mystery.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. People die.
We're not gonna go there just for time's sake, but that's really important because again, most people will say, well, that's fake.
No, it's real. And the thing about, builders and realtors, they don't give a shit, man. They'll just take old cemeteries. And there's one in Portchester, like
well, that's what happened with the Lutz family, and that's a whole other topic. But
they'll take off the tombstones and build right over it. Costco in Portchester, it's built over an old Dutch cemetery. They just built right over it.
where?
Costco in Portchester.
Really?
And they had reached out on Facebook years ago if anybody knew this particular family. They're called the Marritts. And ironically, my friend is a Marriott, but it wasn't his family. And nobody came out and they built over a section of it or whatever. So they don't care when they build houses. Indians back then, they're like, oh, Indians, so what? We'll just build, I don't know how old the Amityville house is. So now we're just jumping ahead with that.
Right. Well, go back to the medium. What happened?
So the medium told that story that the Indian chief came in through the medium and said, this house is built over my land, my cemetery, my burial ground. I'm haunting this house. I'm gonna torment these people.
Right.
And maybe that's what got Ronnie to kill everybody. Then any questions up to that? I mean, uh, so Ronnie got basically he said he did everything. He confessed. I told you he told them where the rifle was, where the bloody clothes were. They found the fresh box. He got 25 years to life in prison. He died on March 12th, 2021, and he still asked the cops about the life insurance. Just crazy.
Am I getting any of that money?
Enter the Lutz family. I don't know if you have time if you want to talk about this a little bit.
Well, I think you know what we should do this part one and two because I feel like this is I
Yeah,
feel like there's so much I feel like so our viewers can kind of otherwise it'll be like a 5 hour episode. I think
yeah,
the last one will be part two. What do you think about that?
yeah. We could do that.
We'll conclude here with okay, you talked about the theories. You sort of mentioned that the house was built on an Indian burial ground, right? Which is
Well, now once again, that's a theory. Okay.
right, we
Well,
don't
no,
know.
no, no, no. That's not a theory. That's a fact because Laura DeDeo found the map of an Indian burial ground being there. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Right. And again, that would motivate sort of the fail hearing the voices and the curse on that family, and possibly the darkness and surrounding the family, right?
Right.
So for you, what do you think? Like at first, what did you think of my idea of it? Because I think quite
Well,
simple.
let me ask you, out of the three theories I came up with, which one would you go with?
And just to review, the first one that he operated with this alone, right?
Alone for the insurance money.
Earns money. I think, and then second one would
Dawn helped them. The
Darn
sister.
help. And third,
And Dawn shot. Second one, Dawn shot everyone except for the mother. And then Ronnie shot Dawn because she shot the kids.
and the third one.
The third one, the mafia.
Okay, I will say so. A few problems. First, I just have something in my interesting thing here that um let me just show you what I found, which is kind of interesting. I'll tell you right now. So I think it's the first theory, quite simply. Now I know there's a lot of holes though, because there's too much mystery behind this. And
Yeah.
what I will say is that and see what like you said excellently, he never discloses motives for gunning down the family. We don't know.
Yeah.
And but I think it's the first one, and I also think that I read something here. I don't know who said this, but um, he someone described him as always lurking around and seemed kind of like and seemed creepy.
Yeah.
He looked like a cult leader, or mass murderer, like and someone compared to Charles Manson, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I read that.
Which, by the way, that's we talked about this idea of the psychopath. Are they born? Are they made? We're still going to leave the question open, but
I think
um,
it was made by his father.
oh no, for sure, for sure. And what because I'm leading up to something right now, but I also have here that he partied hard. He brought friends, and by the way, this would actually give credence to the other theories, where he brought friends and acquaintances to his parents' house after bars closed to keep drinking.
Yeah.
And definitely he regularly would lose his cool, get into fights, which would lead to that, that fight with his dad on that eventful night. Um, but the thing is, with going back, I think it's the first one. I think that's one that makes the most sense. But I think there's something, and again, that's just my theory. I'm just like thinking about what you said that there's something demonic involved
Yeah.
where I think, first the issue of where he got the rifle. I think he got some spiritual help. Something helped him. Second,
But in the movie, they show like a hooded figure hand him the rifle. I think
Who was the hooded figure?
the hooded figure is the Indian or whatever,
Or the demon?
or the D.
Because one of the things with the common thread here with most of our psychopathic killers is that, especially like Richard Ramirez,
Yeah.
we'll be talking about Dahmer pretty soon. Berkowitz, there is something satanic involved.
Hmm.
Some sort of like thing where the original motivator was money, right? In a way, but once he starts, one of the things that a lot of these killers report is I hear voices in my head, I can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think ultimately, I think that's, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think the house had something to it. There was
Hmm.
dark energy. We find out that it's buried above an Indian burial ground. Very similar. And by the way, for most people that don't believe in this, I get it. But I just want to quickly mention here, for example, when King Tut's tomb was opened in Egypt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was so I think the Indians would do this. They would place curses in case
Oh, yeah.
and that's why anyone would disturb a burial ground, right? Or maybe the person has to be in this, ritualized area where you couldn't disturb it, right? For whatever
Yeah.
reason. King Tut in Egypt, that was a thing where the explorers that found King Tut's tomb, opened King Tut's tomb, they were warned, do not open this tomb, lest a curse fall upon you. And what happens? They open it and the curse falls
The
upon.
parakeet died first.
Huh?
The parakeet died.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. But and the other thing too is that they were a very Catholic family, so obviously I think there's some sort of Satanism or satanic element involved, and that he got help from someone creepy,
You know,
someone spiritual.
but then you could say he's taken angel dust and acid, and who knows how much of that did it too.
But the problem with that is I've been drinking. I would not be able to do that inebriated what he did. That's first. Second and third, I've seen the way heroin users act in LSD. Yes, you could definitely do a crime of passion where you kill somebody for
Yeah.
sure. But what DeFeo did is I would say impossible.
Yeah.
Another creepy thing is that I understand where you said the neighbors didn't want to get involved, but the problem is the sound of the gun. I'll be honest with you, any one of them would have called it in.
I mean, a lot of people said they didn't hear it. A lot of people said they didn't hear the gun.
I saw somewhere where they test out that gun sound. I'll be honest with you,
Oh,
if I heard gunshots in the house, right? I get it. Maybe I don't want to get involved, but somebody had to call 911, like somebody, right?
and the other theory is the way that they were dead, the way they were like lying down was an Indian burial position.
Well, going back to the spiritual element, I think that rifle, first of all, was given to him by some entity. Right? I know
Yeah.
people are going to laugh at this, but or the fact that there was no silencer on the gun, right? Which is another
Yeah.
problem. And he got spiritual help.
Yeah.
Because he was either, I don't know if it was the influence of the LSD or tapping into something dark or satanic, or the influence of the malignant spirits involved
Yeah.
in the house, which on our part two, we're going to be talking about the Lutz family, uh,
Yeah.
because they will have something to say about that.
Yeah.
But I think, the other theories are interesting. They're more trying to explain it without using the spiritual.
Right. Right. Right.
I think, and I think Manny Grossman would not like the spiritual theories. I think, like,
No. The
you know,
only thing,
I bring him up because of the interview he made with,
yeah, is Dawn DeFeo had the gunpowder residue on her. So
and that's a proven fact.
it's a proven fact. And that makes it like more like she had something to do with it in a way. So maybe he went to go shoot the kids or the father, and then Dawn somehow got the gun and tried to shoot at
Now,
him.
now, could it be possible that he was trying to implicate his sister, though?
Maybe they were fighting with the rifle, and a bullet went off, and the residue got on her hand before he killed her. There's like too many. It's too many things. It's like crazy.
And I guess, yeah. So I think excellent, like, place. We'll do a part two of this because
Oh
I
yeah.
think we set up the scene, the theories. Any other theories or any other, like what do you think?
I mean, you know, I watching the movie and believing in it and being somebody, me and you believe in possession and we believe in all this stuff. I think there was some supernatural force involved. Um, you know, I thought maybe he just shot his family up without a super. This is another theory. Like, shot his family up, killed them, and then their ghost haunted the house. Because you've seen the picture of the little boy
Hmm.
that the Warrens took. Because there's two ghost hunters.
And what do you think? Is that real?
In 1974. Did they have Photoshop? Could they fake that?
Um,
It
maybe
could be faked, I guess, right?
a very creative photographer, but very creative. This is
Yeah.
before computers. Well, they had computers, but a very creative photographer or movie magic. In that, you know how movies use movie magic to create things,
I
but
mean, oh, it all could be fake, the devil stuff. But Hans Holzer is pretty much like dead on. He's the guy. He's before the Warrens. I believe the Warrens. I'm a big fan of the Warrens, and a lot of people have given them problems through the years too, because saying that they did it for money and they convinced people to.
well, I'll be honest with you, just as my I know how you feel about the Warrens. I'll be honest, but I think they have, yes, there's money involved, obviously, for sure. But I do think they are onto some things though.
Oh yeah, I believe the
I
Warrens.
don't think, and yes, there's money involved. True crime, there's always money involved, of course, because they have,
There was well, okay. Let me say this. Lorraine Warren said in an interview, Amityville was the closest to hell that she hoped she never has to go. Now she's a psychic. She's not a trance medium, but she's a psychic. But then there's a book deal, there's a movie deal where
well, the thing is, it was already a famous book, but and famous movie. So I get it. Like I get the motivating.
well, they made the movie after all this. So the movie was made,
No, I know.
and like everybody got a piece. The lawyer, the Lutz family, the
Wait,
Warren, more.
wait, did Phil get any money off that?
I think the Lutz family got out of $1 million, 300,000. Okay, and then the writer, I forget the guy's name who wrote Amityville,
Sure.
Hans. He got the most money, and the Warrens got more fame, and they were consultants on the movie. Could it all be a hoax? There's two sides. This is like Maury Terry versus the Son of Sam theory. Is Amityville Horror a hoax? Is it made up for Hollywood? But why would the Lutz family move in and make all this shit up and
Hmm.
then say, wait a second, let's make a movie about this and let's get a book deal and let's get the Warrens in. No, they didn't know who the Warrens were.
And again, when you say the hoax, you are talking more about after the fact. But we already discussed the supernatural aspect, which
Yeah,
most people that
like,
the
kind
Warrens and the Lutzes seem to confirm, but then a lot of then kind of go back to DeFeo and say it was supernatural. But then people would say that's a hoax though, because they're just in it for the money. What
of,
at the end
well,
of the day,
Ronnie DeFeo admits he was possessed by a demon. He admits it. He says it in interviews.
well, see, I didn't know that. And I guess the problem with that is that he changes his story so much. Do we believe him?
Yeah, that's the thing. He says that there's a demon in him. This is so complex, dude. It's more complex than Son of Sam, And I hope I'm not confusing people. Is it clear? I hope everyone
No,
understands.
no, that's why I'm sort of like helping the audience clear it and understand it for themselves.
Yeah,
And at this point, like we'll set up the scene for part two. I'll release this as part one because we
yeah.
did. In part two, we're going to talk about
The house and the
the
Lutz.
house itself, the Lutz family, and I guess the Warrens, right?
And then Hans Holzer and Ethel Myers, who talk about the Indian burial ground, because
Right.
that's an important fact.
And the fact that and that will confirm if you follow the line that DeFeo was possessed, there was a supernatural element to it, and there was something of the demonic or malignant spirit, right?
Yep. But before they moved in 1965, there was nothing. The house was peaceful. But maybe the couple who lived there were nice people. You know what I mean? Like if you're
So the
I don't
house itself, so before the DeFeos moved in, the house itself was normal. There was
yeah.
no record.
So if you bring in chaos into a haunted house, you're gonna invoke the spirits. You know that's what I've always read.
Is
You
there any record that DeFeo was involved with Satanism or anything? Do you know?
know, but there's a theory that the Lutz guy was when he moved in.
Hmm.
I mean, more this. There's a theory he had a room upstairs where he had books about Satanism and stuff like that. That's a theory.
Hmm.
So it gets and you see in the movie the guy becomes they basically become the DeFeos when they moved in the house. When the Lutz family moved into the house, they become the DeFeos. They all fight with each other, hate each other. He ends up
Okay.
hating his wife. He becomes violent.
Right, right.
So it's I don't know. Deep down, I believe it was something supernatural. Going
Hmm.
back to the Indian burial ground, um, and Laura DiDio proved that the house was built on that. She was a reporter for CBS who covered the seances that they had after the murders before the Lutzes even moved in.
Hmm.
And the Lutz family, oh, this is even more messed up. The Lutz family moved in with the furniture in the house,
Right, which is creepy.
and the bed frame was Dawn DeFeo's that one of the kids slept on.
And that is so creepy because
So, so add in a Indian spiritual, demonic, pissed off Indian guy, add in murders of 6 people that are murdered. Their spirits are in there. They're angry. They're dead. A little demon boy who there's a picture of, if you believe it. So there's something in that house. I believe it. And I think it didn't show up with the family because maybe the Native American people, I don't know, I might sound nuts, felt like the family before that was calm. And if you bring chaos into a house and there's spirits in there, you can create a poltergeist.
right. Well,
I,
it would make sense. I mean, it sounds a little convoluted, but I can see what you mean though.
I've
Almost.
read that you if you move into a house that's haunted, and you're religious and calm, they're not going to fuck with you. But if you move into a house and say you're doing bad things to your family or you're abusing them and you're bringing more evil onto it, then
Hmm.
it's going to wake it up and be like, oh, I see what's going on. Let me, you know what I mean? This is just crazy theory shit that I've read. I've read too many fucking Warren's books and ghost books.
No, but it's wonderful though because it does sort of again we're gonna in our next installment in part two we're gonna be looking at the Lutzes and what you just said because then it would kind of because now we talked about the fail. It seems to be a crime of passion, right?
Yeah,
And money motivated, it sounds like, and drug motivated, and ultimately the product of a man that was abused and traumatized and
yeah,
trauma, right? So, and PTSD. Um, uh, but eventually, the supernatural aspect is going to come to light.
yeah.
And the house does seem now, the only thing is that we don't know was it because of the fail's actions bringing, causing the malignant spirits to sort of like reawaken? Was their involvement of something demonic? And it's interesting because the fail, and I don't know because of the drugs, like I said, I have in my notes here that he looked like Charles Manson. He was creepy. Like
Really freaking creepy. He was real creepy.
I'll be honest, with you can tell. Like I feel like he got himself involved in something. And the fact that, and we'll talk about it more, but the fact that he interviewed, and one of his interviews, he said that a demon is inside of me.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, you don't get a demon inside of you just cause, right? Either your parents offered you up to a demon, you're playing around with something that calls demons, or demon shows up, like you said, maybe in the chaos of the family, the
that's
demon.
what I. That's my theory. The chaos of the family brought that Indian spirit, uh, to choose Ronnie as a vessel.
Right.
and to do something so evil to kill that family.
Right.
But
Right.
people might think we're nuts that are just true crimers. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's a supernatural aspect, but I do admit there's a lot of mysteries in that. Um, the fact that he was able to do that, that's weird. Alone.
yeah,
I'm just doing the first theory. Again, don't come at me. I'm just thinking. The fact that neighbors heard nothing.
break
The fact
away the demon thing. Let's just say he killed the family for insurance money. But why are they all in the same position, like a Native American body? Why did nobody hear the rifle?
that's the thing, yeah. Somebody have had to heard it.
There's too much weird shit going on to make this not have a supernatural thing going on. Now, this is a true crime episode. Now it's turned into a ghost episode, but it goes hand in hand. It's probably the only true crime episode that goes hand in hand with a paranormal thing.
And I feel as though, and again, some people are going to um obviously it's okay, but I think what we're really revealing in our true crime episodes and music too, there's a supernatural element. It proves these things of the supernatural that most people will ignore.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing, I'll be honest with you, I think abuse triggers the supernatural malignant spirits. I mean,
Oh, abuse. Like, okay. Um, there was a Warrens case. I read every case by the Warrens. I studied them like crazy. And I don't know if it was John Zaffis, who's the son-in-law of the Warrens. One of his books for the Warrens, family moved into a house that was haunted. People lived there forever, never had a problem. But the stepfather started to molest the children. And all of a sudden, a poltergeist appears,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what happens.
bringing in evil. When you start to do evil deeds in a house, things you could like I remember many years ago in my house we played with the Ouija board, and I was dumb and young, and like shit happened. I literally, you know, see my door move up and down, and my radio went on and off at the time. And I got that Ouija board and I fucking threw that shit in the garbage. Now, if I continued to play with that Ouija board, maybe I would have opened up a gate. You know what I mean? Maybe it didn't stay in my house because I live in a religious family and we're all baptized, and we were just stupid kids playing with a Parker Brothers game, supposedly. You know what I mean? But if I continued to do that, maybe I would have opened up some kind of gate and stuff,
Mhm.
if you believe in that stuff. I do. I believe in the supernatural. And I know you do too. I know it's out there. And I'm not a fan of tarot cards. Me and my kid had this whole discussion about tarot cards. I'm like, I respect people that use it, but where is your information coming from?
Hmm.
You know, Definitely a Ouija board. Information is not coming from a good place. Um, Pendulums, all that stuff. I've been there. I've done all this shit. I've seen shit. I am convinced there's a darker world out there, and you have to have a higher power to protect you. You got to believe in this shit. You got to believe in God, and and Jesus, and if you're baptized, it helps. I read, being baptized, that you can't become possessed. Supposedly, I don't know how true that is, but I think Malachi Martin said that.
Hmm.
I can't believe this is becoming now into a
Well, I was gonna say on that note, I think we'll conclude on that positive note.
love
And
it. We went
we'll
from
see, we'll see. We'll continue this in part two,
yeah,
because there's so much to be said.
yeah,
But we'll continue in part two.
yeah, and we'll just leave the Ronnie the fail thing out of that. We'll I think he was, well, before we end it, what do you think motivated him? A demonic force or insurance money?
Demonic force. I
I,
think the money, maybe, maybe. I just feel as though that the money there's too much it's too convoluted. Like,
Yeah,
and I like to use Occam's razor in that I feel like he was already disturbed, right?
yeah,
Um, Now it could have been the money. That could have been the initial, I guess, but I just think that he decided to kill and then he just couldn't stop.
yeah.
And whatever told him, whatever
Why
voice he heard was like, let me
my
just.
father, because the father abused you and you were, okay, I never, awful thing to say that, but if you're gonna kill, why your whole fucking family? Why your brother, your sister, Uh, and he admitted it. You could go and see the interviews, viewers. Ronnie DeFeo, who is a character, he is actually a funny dude in a twisted way. In, um, yeah, he's got this crazy like Brooklyn accent. He sounds like a mobster, and he's like, "I was possessed. I am still possessed. The demon wakes me up at night, all night long. I see things move in my cell, and this and that and the other thing." And then you start to think maybe he's just nuts
Hmm.
or maybe he was really possessed. But thanks to Laura DeDeo, who proved it was built on an Indian burial ground, which might not mean shit to some people,
Mhm.
but it's definitely what Ethel Johnson Meyer said. So there's a link right there that's factual. The Warrens said it was the closest thing to hell that they ever seen, and they did have pictures to prove it. So it's very fascinating on every angle, and I hope we didn't confuse, or I didn't confuse the viewers. I hope you guys, understand. And please comment below. Do you think Ronnie did it for the insurance money? Do you think Ronnie had help with Dawn? Do you think it was a demonic thing? Do you think me and Manny are nuts? Because
Comment below if you think we're nuts.
this is just so fascinating and fun, you know. So we'll definitely we'll get into the Lutz story when the Lutz move in next, and that'll lead up to a whole bunch of crazy shit. And
Mhm.
watch the movie. I mean, go back and watch the original Amityville. The remake was good a couple years back, but watch the original one and see for yourselves what you think. And drive up there if you could. It's not that far away. Go to the house. Although they took the eyes out, the owners don't make it even look like it doesn't look like the Amityville house on 112 Ocean Avenue. It looks like a regular house now
Mhm.
because after the movie came out, it was a pilgrimage for crazy people to ghost hunters. People were like going there and ripping parts of the house, because they wanted to, you know, uh, get it, get into the vibe of the Amityville thing. So, but I guess on that note, we'll explore the uh what's the word I'm looking for, the paranormal side
Mhm.
in the next episode.
Mhm.
So, and believe it or not, Poltergeist was made on the concept of Amityville.
Which is fascinating, and that movie set had its own mysterious misfortunes.
They took that concept from it. So,
Mhm.
but
But geez, this was amazing, man. Like a lot, very informative. Nice setup for part two. I think we covered a lot of very good ground, and I think we're slowly teasing out. And again, comment below if you think we're crazy, but the supernatural elements of it, because it's something that it just fits the puzzle piece. Like it fits the puzzle space, you
I
know?
got here a Marlin 35 caliber at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, that's loud enough to wake anybody. But wake up to the point of, like cold water in the face, you know?
And how are the poor victims? And my heart goes out to the family that died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Father, because he was a bastard. But you know what I mean. But like, how come they're in an Indian position? They're all on this. I don't know if they were on their backs. They had to, so too much weird stuff, man. Fascinating. I'm so glad I got to do this, man. This has been on my bucket list for forever, next to the son of Sam. And I just like And thank you, Manny Grossman, for putting the seed in my head. And like I said, there's so many things. I hope everyone understands the the story and the theories, and it's just gonna get crazier in the next episode.
Well, till the next one, Cheech, my friend.
All right,
This was really good.
thank you, man. A lot of fun.
All right, Cheech, we'll continue this in part two.
All right, take care, brother.
Take care. All right.